Good afternoon. This is Trails Committee meeting on June 5th, 2025. I am calling the meeting to order at 7:10. We now have quorum. We're going to do a roll call. Let me know you're here. Satya Sharma,
Here.
Tom McCoolier,
Here.
and Kat McKee here. Great. Thank you all. Okay, so Tom, this is going to be a little tough. Actually, yeah, it's going to be impossible for you to look at the minutes, and we won't have quorum without you. So what I'm gonna do is then pause. We won't do the minutes this time, but we'll most likely meet in a short-term time frame, so we'll be able to approve the minutes that Sati drafted for the last two, the work session and the meeting in May. So we'll take that up at the next meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So next up is I'm gonna try to, how do I order this up? Okay, so we are I think what I'm gonna do is talk about I'm gonna talk about phase 2 first. So Sati, I'm reordering the agenda. So basically, per our last meeting, engineering, so Beals had figured out that they need more support, financial support to finish the project because the bridge height is giving the structural engineers some issues. They're feeling uncomfortable about, and they just want some more testing done on the velocity of the water, etc. So I have our issue there was our original contract was a certain amount with Beals, and you can only increase it by purchase order. You can only by change order, you can only increase it by 25% of the core amount. But I have asked Melanie, there is, because this is not a public building, the procurement officer does have some leeway to be flexible in that. And so I've asked for some flexibility. It's not much above the 25%. And if they actually included the option 1 that we had in the core contract as part of the base amount, then we would not be exceeding the 25%. So she has gone ahead and asked us she was running this by the general counsel. She asked us for the change of scope, which leads me to believe, without final confirmation, that they are going to allow us to do that and add another $5,000 to the contract. So then the question is, how do we come up with the $5,000 since we don't have ARPA money anymore? So we have CPC money or CPA money. So, and that was allocated towards both the phase 1 and phase 2. So I've reached out to CPC, the Community Preservation Committee, and asked them about using that to pay for the overage, either in full or a partial, because we can use perhaps some of our trails budget ourselves, this one that's ending in June, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So Freddie has responded that there was some confusion about what I was asking for. At first, she thought I was asking for another application. They have applications coming up that are, they're opening up on June 18th for new applications. We're not doing that. So I explained or asked, is it necessary for us to ask for approval? Because she said we should go in, present the budget, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not sure I understand, because I thought this was all approved, and we approved it with CPC last year about spending some money on the phase 2. So I think we're in the clear now just to be able to submit an invoice. I just need to make sure that there's going to be no hiccups if we use some of that money to cover the 5,000 and to pay for one of the invoices. So the question I have for the committee is, we need to come up with a split, and we don't necessarily need to do it here, but we need to figure out how much of our current budget we can apply towards the Beals engineering services versus the remaining things we might need to purchase out of our current fiscal year budget, and then how much we're going to use for CPC. Now, we're using, remember we had two CPC buckets. One was the 47,000 we initially got, and the second is the larger one. The second bucket is for the bridge and boardwalk and contractor by itself. And so I would suggest that we take it out of the 47. So I wanted to, let me share my screen and I'll share the budget, since it's kind of those conversations go hand in hand. But while I'm doing that, does anyone have any clarifying questions as I've laid that out?
So this 25%, just wanted to understand how this overage is there. I mean, what made because of the bridge height issue or something?
Oh,
I didn't.
what is the money paying for? Yeah. So
Yeah.
the structural engineer, because the floodplain, the 100-year flood map shows a certain level, they were suggesting that the abutments would have to be placed differently, which would create a higher bridge. The bridge would then be higher than the road bridge, which doesn't make sense to anybody, especially given that MWRA can control control the waterway. Now, in a hurricane, they did say, well, they're all kind of all bets are off in certain circumstances. They can't control everything, right? And that's fair. But in most cases, the bridge height as is would be fine, but they do have to run this to ground to ensure that they feel comfortable with how they're proposing it. The reason we don't want to increase the bridge height and change the abutments is because we've presented this information already to both conservation commissions, Southborough and Framingham, and received approval based on initial plans at the location that they were proposed and at the height it was proposed. So we don't want to have to go back and do all of that. And it doesn't make sense in this case for the bridge to be higher than the road bridge, especially when MWRA can control the flow of water.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So what we have here is our fiscal year budget. Our budget is 4250. And Travis confirmed that he said remaining budget, and I have to get the little bit of details to make it work, but the remaining budget is roughly 3,600. And I'm going to be just put CAC to confirm details. So we paid for some yoga on the trails invoice. We paid for Will's registration for the DCR conference. We're going to pay for Kat's registration, $50. Maybe travel, maybe not. I don't know if I'll put it in there or not. And then I need to see if they charged us for that certificate of insurance. You may recall, there was some conversation, the certificate that we needed to provide DCR. So I need to find out if that needs to come out of there. So if we have $3,600, we talked a little bit about the potential for putting another bench along the trail, the Peninsula Trail. And so here I have two quotes, which is the 88 bench, which is $958, a lot higher, and that includes the $60 for the anchor. It's a lot higher than the 4-inch regular bench at $576. That includes the anchor also. So my recommendation, I would like to hear from the committee, is to go ahead and buy one more bench, and we double up on the Peninsula Trail, and we either we can put it on the ADA section, or maybe another section kind of closer to the dam where there's a nice view of the dam or something like that. So what do you guys think about that expenditure as one option?
So Kat, let me just ask a question. So we need some funds for this change order, correct? And are we? Yep. So I would say, and we can discuss this. I was thinking, why don't we postpone the second bench, the unpurchased bench for the ADA that you just discussed, until we finalize the cost for the engineering?
Well, the cost is final, $5,000.
Yeah, but we have to come up with what, 2,500 out of our budget that you just described?
No, we could use all of our CPC money if we wanted to.
Oh, so this doesn't touch that $3,600 you just mentioned?
I'm sorry, what was that last piece?
It doesn't. So we have the CPA funds to pay for this engineering for the bridge.
Yes, yeah. And what I was proposing is to do a split, like because we may not be able to spend all of our 3,600, right? And we don't want it to go away. So
there, so if I understand, you spent 2,500 of that and 2,500 of the CPA funds.
yeah, something like that.
I like that idea a lot.
Okay. So,
And
now,
then your second part of your thing was spending the rest of that funds to buy that bench from the 2,500 to the rest of our budget, which I think you said 3,600, to buy that second ADA compliant bench for the Peninsula Trail.
I'm not actually recommending the ADA bench because it is so expensive. It's, you know, almost $1,000.
Well, from where, for the second, we have one 88 bench, and that's going the Peninsula Trail, correct? So the second one that you're describing, I don't really think, I mean, I have walked that trail, and I won't say it's aggressive, but I'm not sure an ADA compliant bench over there would make sense.
Exactly.
On the Peninsula Trail?
Correct.
Yeah, another one, not a second one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think a second one would be appropriate for that part of the trail.
Right, I agree.
Okay.
So if we wanted to buy another bench, it would be like $576 plus some shipping. So maybe seven, you know, something like that. So, so that's what I was thinking and wanted to hear from you all.
Yep. I agree with that.
Okay, great. So if that's that, let's put that in there. Okay.
So this will be which part of the agenda, our Peninsula Trail?
Yes, Peninsula Trail. So when we talk about the bench, well, the bench is really not about the Peninsula Trail. It's about
No.
budget, right? This is really the budget
Correct.
conversation if you're trying to put it in the minutes somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so can we be flexible, and we'll make a vote of this kind of tied together. Propose to spend roughly, right? So we want some flexibility. So if we had to on the fly make a decision to change this a little bit, roughly 2,500, give or take, depending on the outcome of our discussion with CPC. But this is what we'll kind of target. So the two of these is together 3,076, and it leaves about 524. Well, actually, if I need to do this little guy too. So what I'm getting at is we're going to have a small amount of remaining funds, right? And we don't have, I haven't been notified of any additional trees that are down that we need any assistance with that type of thing this year, which is great. So we need to figure out what we would like to allocate our funding toward, you know. And we could, if we could do that interpretive signage, if we could get that finished up, we could
But Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, this money has to be spent by June 30th.
6:30, yep.
So, and from, if I understand everything, we allocated a little under $3,100 of the $3,600.
Yeah, so it leaves, yep. So I'm just gonna
Now, I'm just gonna put this out there, and I'm not saying this is right, but I'm just saying, do we want to leave the leftover funds? And I know at the end of the fiscal year, the funds will be swept into the general fund. Do we want to leave those funds unallocated? I don't know if we're going to have another meeting before the end of June, because I'm thinking of it, keep it a little bit of as an emergency fund. What happens if something comes up and we need some funds? I understand that we'll lose it.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to lose it to keep a little bit of emergency funds for the June. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
Does
so
that make sense, or do we want to spend it?
I think, okay, I hear you. I think each of the last 2 years, we had a little scramble at the end trying to use it. We've been successful, but we don't want to scramble this year. So I hear you. Our emergencies would really be limited to what happens with CPC. So say we have to spend a little more on the engineering services. That would be one potential emergency. I'm not really sure what other emergencies might come up. We've never really had a funding emergency, so to speak. But I think the interpretive sign, it's not gonna cost much. That we might be able to finish up and get printed. I'm trying to remember what our signs cost. It was like, it's gonna be 150 or something like that. And then we'll need a post and some concrete and some gravel. So, we could spend a little bit on that if the committee thought that was a good, and that interpretive sign we were thinking about, actually the picture behind me is the place we were thinking about putting the interpretive sign because it highlights the white pine.
Question though, oh, I just forgot my question. Sorry, I'll come back. Go on. I did have a question, but go on.
Oh, Will raised his hand. What does that mean? Where is Will?
I think he probably logged in
there he is.
not as a attendee.
Remote to panelist. Sorry, Will. I didn't see that because I've been sharing my screen, so it hides everything, but you should be coming over now if you can hear me. Did you think of your question?
No.
Okay. Hey, Will.
Hey,
Thank you for joining.
I thought I looked.
Oh,
I looked
I
at
did
this.
think of it,
Looked at
sorry.
the site of the town. And it said this was 7:30, not 7.
Did the town, let me just double check. Sati, do you remember seeing it on our agenda?
No,
Yeah, it's 7 on the,
I didn't even got a chance to.
yeah,
look
we
at the
pulled a
agenda.
fast one on the town, I think is what happened. They just probably recycled our meeting without looking at or thinking about the detail, but it is posted at 7 on the
Oh.
agenda.
Okay.
So thank you for calling that out. I will,
Anyway, go ahead. Let's go ahead.
I won't be able to do anything about it now.
No.
Okay. Yeah, but now
So,
that you're here,
Catherine-
we can do minutes. Yes, go ahead.
So Kate, the only question I had is, did we, I know we talked about yoga on the trails. Is that paid for in this fiscal year?
That's a really great idea. Not yet, but let's talk about that because I was thinking we could spend some money on yoga too, because I got information from Emma. Let's see what Emma says, 2025. Okay, so she says I can do June 14th available as well if we want to add another one in. When's June 14th? That's next Saturday. Let me check with her because I think if that is true, we could throw a yoga in there.
Agreed.
So Will, to catch you up, what we're talking about is our budget, right? So we have roughly 3,600 left in our budget.
Okay.
And so we have to come up with about 5,000 for the engineering services. And we're working positively with Melanie. I think that is going to happen, that we're able to do that. I'm trying to figure out with CPC funding through the CPA funding through the CPC, we're trying to figure out what I need to do to invoice to get to use some of that money for the first time. So our bucket of 47,000, we were going to take it out of that bucket.
Right.
So we're going to do some sort of split between CPC and Trails budget, right? And so we're proposing up to 2,500 of the budget for that, and that's a give or take, right? So that may be a little more, a little bit less. It just depends on how the conversation works out with CPC. So how do you feel about that figure and that range?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm caught up. Let's go ahead.
Okay. And then the regular bench, we wanted to purchase one more regular bench at about 576, and we were going to double up on the Peninsula Trail, and it might
Okay.
actually be, yeah. So we were going to do that. And that's, how do you feel about that?
That's fine. Let's
Great.
do it.
And then, so we were just talking about yoga on the trail. So if she can do 614, I will, I'll go ahead and tell her yes to that. And that will be that 75 can also come out of our current budget. And then
Okay.
we had the interpretive sign for the white pines that would go in the area of trail next behind me. That's going to be, I'm going to say 150. I'm not quite sure what the number is yet.
So are we still looking to spend more right now or less or what?
No, that's about it. And I think that will actually, let's see, what will that get us? It gets us 299 remaining roughly, right? So,
Are there any tools that we need to buy?
Oh, we're tooled out. Hey, speaking of tools, Tom, I'm gonna need that weed whip when you think about it. I
Yep.
think you also have
I'll bring it.
yeah,
I'll
if you
bring it
come
this
on
weekend.
Sunday, you can just bring it with.
And
Okay.
now, would we want another battery for those electric tools? Or the
I bought a
battery
couple more batteries, so I think we have.
Okay.
But that's a great idea. Let me just put battery down here, double check, because now that we have multiple tools running on those batteries, if we had 4 people, 3 people using all of those batteries, then having a couple more extras. But
Yeah,
I should
remember
be
last time we
charging
used
those
it?
for Sunday. Go ahead.
Yeah. Remember last time we used it, we chewed through batteries pretty quick.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, let me charge for Sunday also. Okay, so that's an idea. And I think I had we might need some cement for some posts that need to go in, but I gotta say the cement has to be used right away. I've had bad luck with not keeping it from moisture, so cement does not sit around well ever in anything.
We can use next year's budget for that. That's a small item.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those, like, if we're gonna use it. Okay, so I think that is roughly where we are with the budget. So I'm gonna make a motion that we spend our remaining budget on the engineering services, the bench, interpretive sign, yoga on the trails and batteries if we need to, or cement and posts as needed. That would reimburse us, that would take our budget up to about 3,600, give or take. It probably just take, because you can't go over. So can we get a second for that?
I'll give a second for that.
Tom seconded. Great. Let's do a roll call vote. Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Will Warren,
Yes.
and Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes, great. Okay, so motion passes. Thank you for dealing with that budget question. So yeah, I think that's the quick piece on the Peninsula Trail Phase 2. So I've asked Dave from Beals to send me a scope so I can get that change order processed quickly, because we're going to need him to send us an invoice that we're going to have to pay out of our budget this year. That needs to happen in June. CPC has more flexibility. Speaking of CPC, they do want us to come in and give an update. So unfortunately, we couldn't make May work. So the June date, June 18th, of all the dates in June, that's the only date I can't go. So I've asked them, I can send them a written update if they want something immediately, and then I can attend a July meeting. So we'll be putting something together for them, but I think we'll have a good update and we'll know where we are in the bid. If we are attending in July, we should go to bid by then, but I'm gonna stop saying that because we are not meeting any of those timelines. But I am hoping, I keep telling Dave that we have to move at a very good clip, because we're running out of this year already. And then back to Phase 1. So we have our trails work and stuff on Sunday. After we get through that big development, I'm going to need to, we really need to put the pedal to the metal for signage. I'm going to find a resource to be able to help us with the Native American aspect of it, which the original contact did not work out yet. And I think to this point, Will, have you done or found any resources for map development?
No, I haven't.
Okay. How likely are you to be able to do that in the next couple of weeks?
I'm likely to do that.
Okay.
I will do that.
Do you want me to send you a little text as a reminder?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Just, basically maybe one a minute. That'll be
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna add you to a post-it, which means you've been elevated to post-it in Cat's World.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what is going on with the signage in the Phase 1?
Excuse me?
Signage, you
Yeah,
said
so we need to finish out our Mass Trails grant. We need to get our signage going for the interpretive sign that we're gonna be putting up at along the Peninsula Trail and the map kiosk at the beginning. Okay, so yeah, we'll put the, we'll have to get hot on that quickly. So we talked about budget, we talked about, okay, so let's talk about the bench location for the other thing. So I did go in on Saturday, and with Tom's help, I'm glad he came with me because we had to drill that little pre-drill that hole. And those anchors, you remember seeing them, they're pretty long. And they have to go all the way in the ground. So I got lucky in our bench placement that we were able to put it so far in the ground, because New England with rocks and roots, it's going to be. So I think the ability to screw those in is going to be kind of where we need to focus. Like, if we pick a place, it may not go in if we can't get the anchors to go in, right?
Yeah, well, there's always the option of like a chain around a tree or something.
Yeah. Oh, that actually could be something we think about as some of our funding could be a chain.
Yeah,
For benches or something, if that additional funding. Good call.
right.
Yeah. So we had talked about, I think it was a good idea. Someone had mentioned, near the Barnett Mansion where the spillway is underneath those trees, kind of
Yep.
nice and pretty around there.
Yep.
Even though there's a bench on the other side of the trail, it might be nice to see if we could put a bench there. A lot of people fish, a lot of people go there just to watch the wildlife and stuff. So I don't know whose property or how. I just need to ask. So is that a location we're serious about asking
Asking to do what? To put a
to
bench?
put it there, to put the bench there?
Don't we have, don't we have a bench right there already?
It's not where I'm talking about. So the bench,
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about the bench sort of above the spillway.
yeah,
Okay.
like
Yeah,
right next
yeah,
to
yeah.
it, on that
Yeah.
side of it.
Yeah, that was, I think I recommended that spot.
I think
Yeah,
it was you.
I'm all
Okay.
there. Yeah, I'm all with it.
Okay, good.
Which place are you discussing?
So if you think of, actually, I could show you.
Yeah.
Better than I can tell you. Let me bring this up. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Share. Okay. All right, now let me Beals Deerfoot. Okay, why am I not opening maps? There we go. And show me there. And go in here. And there's Deerfoot. There we go. There it is. Okay, great. All right. So this is the open waterway, the open channel here. This is Deerfoot. The mansion is here, right? You see my cursor rolling around?
Yep.
Okay. And this is where we're talking about, like, either on probably on this side. Like, there's a couple trees here. It'd be nice to kind of have a bench there, overlooking all of this.
Yeah. You can look at the geese or whatever.
Yeah. They always line up here. The
Yeah,
other
they
bench
will.
that we were referring to is over here somewhere, overlooking this. It looks over here, right? It's the granite one that's dedicated to
Yeah, the one that has
Al
writing on it.
Bezanson.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So that was one thought. So how are we feeling about that? I like that idea if we want to explore it.
Deerfoot Road is, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I guess the only question would be the people who live right next to that. Are they going to be all right with that?
Well, yeah, I don't know where their yard starts an hour and the public right away starts. And who mows this? I want it to stay out of mowing. It might not work because of all of those factors. We're just going to start a conversation and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one. And then we decided we're going to put the ADA Peninsula Trail. And then we have, we bought 4 plus 1, so 5 in total. Is that right? So we have 2 more to determine. The extra one we haven't bought, we were going to put on the Peninsula Trail area. So I had suggested the Bay Circuit Trail. at a vista overlooking the water. And I can show you where I'm thinking here. So here's the Peninsula Trail, boom, 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 boom.
Are you
This,
sure? Are you sure DCR will let people look at the water?
uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, doesn't that look like a glacier? How cute. Why is that in that kind of color? The Sudbury River. That's weird. Anyway, so this trail is right here. It's this wide swath here, right? In here, this little, not the wide swath, it's the little one along the waterway. So that's where I'm suggesting somewhere in here. Overlooking the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's overlooks the water through the trees, right?
Yeah.
Or-
There's like a little, it's similar to like 9/11 where we put it, it's through the trees, but there's little opening and stuff. So, you know, that you kind of
Yeah.
have a clear view.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
That's a good
Okay,
place.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Okay, so then we have one more that we can place somewhere special. So we've got 2 here. We're fine. That all right, that's got 3. Let's go to the other side of town. So nothing really off of Partridge Hill. That's that bomb area that doesn't work. About the
What
cemetery.
about? Well, what about at the where the place where the Oreo cows used to be, whatever that's called?
Chestnut Hill. No, Breakneck Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
there's
it-
there's an elevated portion of all that that's kind of looks down onto the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
whatever.
we can't, so that's stewardship committee. I happen to sit on that committee. I made a comment to them if they wanted to buy a bench that they might think about Poly Products, and they are thinking about it. So they've actually just installed a picnic table at the summit on Breakneck Hill. It used to be there. So my husband and I had a date, and one of our first dates over there. Anyway, I digress. So they are already thinking about doing that. So that is good thinking. They are on it.
Okay.
Okay.
How about Sunset Drive in the cul-de-sac near the pink building?
Yeah. Okay. So we can't do it along the field. That doesn't make sense.
What
Doesn't
about
make sense along State
what
School
about the
either.
town forest? Is there any place you'd want to put one there? or-
There's 2 benches already in the town forest.
Oh,
So
okay.
good
So-
thinking. One overlooks the pond, and one is on Sudbury Valley trustee property, and that's really a nice
No,
concept.
is the town forest the one that's off Woodland?
Yes, correct. Yep,
Yeah.
it connects to Breakneck. Okay, so really the section that is along between Deerfoot and Parkerville is not ideal at all. And then we have the the long section from Deerfoot to what's that? Starts with an L, Lynbrook here. That's really wide open and not really good for, well, for a bench because they mow, but yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like along here, I don't know if that is a nice area to look at the water. And it's more populated because we're about to get into the Northborough area. I mean, technically between Northborough Road and Northborough Road, we could do something along here if we wanted to.
Do we have anything near the Ward Road?
Ward, no, nothing. So we could do that too. So this is getting into Ward Road. So this is Ward Road here. And we have this is our side here. And that's the little, and then goes into the woods here. So the only problem I have about putting a bench in here, Sati, and I'll hear from you because you remember, I think you took that section when we were doing some trail work way back when, and it was knee high. So while we try to stay on top of the grass, it's really hard to stay on
Oh,
top of
yeah.
that section. So it might some of the year be unusable. So we might be putting a bench where someone can't
Yeah.
necessarily. But I like the concept of something up that way.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it is, the grass grows really high
Yeah.
there.
Like, again, we're gonna have an issue just putting it anywhere because of the grass. If they're mowing, we need to have it out of the way, right? Because we don't want to put obstacles in their way. So maybe something along Northborough, because the thing is, if we put the interpretive sign, like we were thinking about either on either end of Northborough. So right now, I think there's a little map box over here, kiosk, like not a kiosk, but a map box that we have like, hey, tell us what you're thinking about trails. So we could either put the signage over here and the bench with the signage, or the bench just sitting around along the trail. I kind of like the bench off the road. You know what I mean? Kind of in the middle somewhere, so you're not listening to cars, you're sitting there enjoying nature. So I'm kind of liking this area here. What do you guys think? It's kind of not off the beaten path, but it's not as in your face as this open waterway here. It's less neighbors. How about that?
And
Less
this,
neighbors to be mad at us.
this is a new bench. This is not any bench we've discussed before, right?
Yeah, no, this is one of our benches that we currently have already assembled.
Right, but it's not like, I mean, we were talking about some other benches that. Okay, so this is just yet another bench. All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. Hmm.
All right. So what do you think about considering this area?
Yes.
Yeah. Any objections?
No.
this is-
Oh, I see. Okay, I see.
It would be on this side.
Where's your Quasar there?
What
Oh,
was that?
there. Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, somewhere around here. So if anyone thinks of anything else, let me know.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Okay. So, and we'll figure out when we want to drop those. Okay. That's great. Thank you for your help there. Okay. So we've got a trail construction work party coming to us on Sunday. Very excited. So
It's really going to be a 6-hour trail construction party?
it might be.
Oh.
It depends on how things go.
Ah.
And how many people show up. It might be very quick.
Mhm.
But as you recall, so there is an interesting change. So you know how for some of us, we've often parked in this, it's on Boston Road. This is right across from the trail, which would be here in this section, right? This
Yeah.
Stony Brook, the dam is back here. I'll widen out. Here's the dam. So it's going to be right in here.
Okay.
And we used to park at this warehouse 251. They've now since put up a fence and a gate, so you can't park in there anymore. But Sanofi said we could park in their spots here. So we'll have plenty of spots. So I got permission to do that. And I notified MWA and I copied Southborough Conservation to let them know that we were going to be doing the trail building on
Right.
Sunday. So we're all set there. I also asked MWA, we have some small diameter trees we need to remove that have been approved by the conservation commissions. And I've asked them if they wanted us to take the brush away or distribute it in the forest and let it decompose as it naturally would. And they said, spread out, not in the water, and decompose is fine. So we have those confirmations.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's that. I don't know how many we'll have, and I'm going to bring all of our tools. So we'll have those, and there's the AMC has a few tools as well. So
So
yeah.
these are going to be AMC members that we're working with?
Yeah, Appalachian Mountain Club, they were
Right.
the ones, they posted it as a work party, as a trail event, like so anyone can sign up to come out, and there'll be a few AMC members there leading that initiative with us. So yeah, I don't expect it to take like the with as many people, like even if we have 6 or 7 people, that's a lot of people. It's a small area. So the other section of trail that's going to be a little bit more challenging to work through is this where there's an open field. I'm thinking that we can use our brush cutter if someone has some experience with that. We're first going to confirm the brush cutter was assembled properly because our blade was loose. If you remember that, Tom, you helped us tighten that up a little bit. But yeah, so we can use the brush cutter because that to kind of make a path across the open way there. That's going to be a little bit tricky because it is brushy. not a fun brush, but an ugly brush. If anybody remembers Pine Hill, that when we were developing that trail, how brambly it was, that's kind of the brambles we're talking about.
The hill that comes up from the road to the.
Yeah, you were
Okay,
there.
right, yeah, I
Yeah.
was there.
You were there.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
I mean, once you got to the top of the hill, it wasn't that bad, but,
Yeah.
it wasn't great.
No, and it was cutting across. Actually, we probably need to go over there and do some work anyway. But that's going to be the plan. So who, and it's okay if you can't come, but remind me who can come? Kat can come.
Okay, yeah.
Tom, are you able to come?
I believe so, and at 9 o'clock. I just have to confirm.
Okay. And Will, did you say you could?
Yeah, I'll come.
Would you like to carpool?
Hmm. Yeah, sure.
Okay, Sati, and I think you are not available.
I'll try, but
Yeah.
I'll try.
And if you're a little late, that's okay too.
Okay.
Whatever you can do, that would be great. We're gonna break out our new little saw that we might have to put together too, and see how that works. Electric saw. It's like a mini.
What about
non-chainsaw.
the hedge trimmer thing that we got?
Yeah. I don't know that we'll need the hedge trimmer, but we will need the cutter, like the loppers, and we will use the.
Yeah, but you don't think there's gonna be lots of like little.
I'll bring it, Will, just so we have it, because you never know when that stuff, because with the brushy brambly stuff, that might be a good way to kind of cut it. If it's not too thick, it might be a good way to chop it down before the brush cutter gets in there. So I'll bring it. It's a
Yeah.
good point. Okay. And then I just recommend you wear long pants, even if it's going to be hot, because there's going to be ticks and we're using dangerous tools. So we want to protect ourselves. So wear boots, or if you can wear tennis shoes, if that's all you have, okay. But if you have a stronger pair of shoes, like a hiking boot or a shoe, that would be good too. Something with a little bit more substance to it. So if you drop something heavy, your foot has a chance of surviving the event. And I'll have extra off with me, but layer up and bug up, and protect yourselves.
What's the weather supposed to be?
Oh, good call. Let's see. Weather, Southborough. It's supposed to
Yeah,
rain a little.
Sunday is fine, I think.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to rain on Saturday. So Sunday looks overcast, which is good for us. High 70 or 75. So perfect.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about getting that taken care of. And that actually will make it easier for those who are installing the boardwalk and bridge to have space to do so. They can get in there and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And we are going to try to make it as accessible as possible, like designing it so that we're trying to remove as many of the obstacles of the slope as we can in the terrain that's there. We have some obstacles, but we will do our best.
What is the elevation? What is the rise or whatever of the slope?
You asked the best questions, and I don't have an answer for that. We'll bring some tools so we can measure.
Well,
it.
we're not building the slope. We're just accepting the slope that's there, right?
Right, and we're going to bench cut into the slope to de-slope it as much as we can.
Bench cut into slope.
Make
Yeah,
it-
well, then if we're going to be doing that, then we should probably be thinking about trying to reach a acceptable elevation, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. By
Yeah, I mean, so basically, what is the acceptable elevation? Is it 5% or is it less?
I've got numbers on it that I'll bring with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
don't
I
have
just want to point out, if it's like 5%, then that's 100 foot. That's 5 feet per 100-foot run, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe bring a tape measure, just to so that we can measure off. I don't, maybe not a tape measure, but something that we can measure off.
Actually, the Trails Committee could probably use a tape measure, huh?
Yeah, well, something that we can use on a longer than just 3 feet length, right? So in other words, it's got to be a thing that like surveyors use. Not you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a longer piece of string, if whatever, or a piece of rope that rolls up, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
And then I have an app that measures slope also.
really?
Don't you poo-poo my app?
No, I'm poo-hooing the fineness and ability of your cell phone.
Well,
Not that it's Android, but I'm just saying, I mean, is your cell phone really that precise that it can measure rise and run over a short distance?
I don't think it got it too wrong on the Peninsula Trail after the ADA came out and measured, but we can use multiple sources and do our best to try to get it right. Okay, so I think that those are the important parts of our business tonight. Any questions or comments on anything we talked about that we should further discuss?
Well, I was looking on Amazon. Do we need a distance measuring wheel?
I've always wanted one of those. How much do they run? Because we could use one as a trails committee because it helps you accurately project like how many miles. Like we have, the GPS watches and phones, they all measure. So I don't know if it's necessary.
They're around like $30 or so, with a little cute little bag.
With a cute bag. Do you
Yeah.
think we'll need, like in general for the trails committee with all the apps and stuff that measure mileage, do you think we need a wheel measurer? I mean, I think,
Well, the wheel measurer gives you much more precise measures of distance, right? GPS is only good within,
yeah,
15,
is
20
precise,
feet.
right?
Yeah.
So does the committee want, we could add it to our shopping list of what can fit on our budget this year?
Yeah, that would be great. But there's something else that has like a distance measuring string thing. But the measuring wheel might certainly something that would be within the reach of our budget, right?
Yeah, and the tape measure too, we might want to do those two things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're in good shape for this. So thank you so much for your help. I'm so glad we got to put the cart together. We got to use the cart and that we finish the benches. Thank you very much for everyone's help. That really was a wonderful task that we got taken care of. So
There's the thing that I'm thinking of. And this is only $15, but it's a tape measure that will measure up to 300 feet.
oh yeah, I've seen one of those. Yes, because we were looking at that actually when we had our shopping list before because
Yeah, I mean that might not be a bad thing if we're going to be building rises and runs and things like that.
Yeah, we can check that later on, right?
yeah, yep.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Right.
Okay.
So we could get both basically, right?
Yeah.
For under $50, we could get both.
Oh,
Right.
so Tom's gonna have to drop. So
Yeah,
Tom-
he has to drop. Yeah, that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Before you drop, Tom, do you have well, we should meet again in June, to your point. Perhaps the 26th, it's the last Thursday before the 30th. So if we had any last minute business to take care of before the fiscal year end, how do you guys feel about the 26th?
That'd be fine.
That is fine.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So we'll
fine.
do that. I'll send out an invite and then I will see most of you. Will, do you want someone else to pick you up on Sunday or
No, that'll be fine.
would you like are you okay if I come by?
Yeah.
Okay.
What time will you be by?
Well, we're gonna start at 9, so we need to be there a little early.
So come by 8:30 or whatever.
8:30, yeah, because I wanted to get some donuts or something, and I was struggling whether I was going to get them or Amber was going to get them from AMC's.
So, Kat, this meeting is at 7 or 7:30.
Which meeting? Oh, the one on Thursday. Let's
Yeah.
do 7:30 if that's comfortable with everyone.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Perfect. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Let's do an adjournment at 7:59 and a roll. Does someone want to second that motion?
I
Adjourn?
second it.
Will seconded. Okay.
Yeah.
And what roll call would be Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Will Warren,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Great. So we didn't take up minutes, but we'll do that next time. Thank you, Sati, for drafting those. I appreciate that. Okay, we'll see you on Sunday. You have a great week, rest of the week.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.